Immerse in a journey back to the 14th century, a time shadowed by the Black Death. This plague, a deadly dance of bacteria and fleas, claimed a third of Europe's population. Picture narrow, bustling streets abruptly silenced. Imagine the resilience of humanity, enduring, adapting. This tragedy, while devastating, shaped societies, economies, cultures. The Black Death, a dark chapter, a powerful testament to human strength. Join us as we delve deeper into history's resilient heartbeats. Welcome to Top Thangs. Today we dive into the dark history of the Black Death, the devastating plague that swept through Europe in the 14th century, claiming millions of lives and reshaping the continent's future. Explore the origins, spread, and profound impact of one of history's deadliest pandemics. Emergence and spread of the Black Death. The Black Death was a devastating pandemic outbreak of bubonic plague likely beginning in Central Asia before spreading west along trade routes into Europe in the mid-14th century. It was the first major European outbreak of medieval plague. The epidemic erupted in Messina, Sicily in 1347, before ravaging Italy and hitting France and Spain in 1348, eventually reaching even remote villages across the continent by 1350. Over the next several years, around 25 to 30 million Europeans perished, comprising 30 to 60% of affected populations in different regions. Causes and symptoms. While unknown at the time, modern science established the Black Death was caused by the Yersinia pestis bacteria, which infected rats and transmitted to humans via fleas feeding on rodent blood. Bubonic plague results in painful swelling of lymph nodes called buboes while the bacteria multiply, before spreading through the body if untreated. Pneumonic plague infecting the lungs could also spread human to human by respiratory droplets. Contemporary accounts detailed gruesome symptomology including fever, chills, vomiting, diarrhea, severe pain, rupturing buboes and blackening skin extremities. Death often occurred within 3 to 7 days of infection. Chaos and disruption across medieval society. The plague's extreme mortality rate of up to 60% in urban centers profoundly disrupted all aspects of society, economy, faith, and culture. Cities became overrun with the dead and dying, with too few survivors to properly bury them. Trade and commerce collapsed as populations plummeted. Labor shortages emerged in agriculture and production. Faith in religion and social cohesion faltered amid the horror and uncertainty. Flagellant religious movements arose, along with persecution of Jewish communities as scapegoats. The Black Death marked a decisive turning point, ending the High Middle Ages. Recurring plague outbreaks. While the 14th century outbreak was the deadliest, plague remained endemic in Europe for centuries afterwards through successive waves. The Italian plague of 1629 to 1631 claimed some 280,000 lives in northern Italy alone. The Great Plague of London in 1665 to 1666 killed 15 to 20% of London's inhabitants. Sporadic plague epidemics recurred until the early 19th century, when improving hygiene, medicine, and living standards helped eradicate the constant threat. While less deadly than the 14th century Black Death, these recurring outbreaks prevented population recovery and reinforced plague's grim presence through early modern times. Changing landscapes and economy. The abrupt population decline due to millions of deaths significantly changed the European landscape and economy. Thriving cities and towns decayed into ghost towns with swaths of abandoned buildings and untended fields. Labor shortages shifted economic relationships and legal structures around wages, prices, and land usage, as serfdom declined and free peasants gained more autonomy. Inheritances concentrated wealth, yet higher wages improved commoners' standards of living. However, population recovery took over 150 years of scarcity. Impacts on religion, morality, and persecution. The Black Death's catastrophic mortality severely damaged the medieval church's credibility and diminished faith in religion. Questioning of doctrines emerged. Some believed God was punishing humanity's sins, sparking violent religious and moral purity movements. Jews faced escalating persecution as scapegoats blamed for somehow causing the plague, with thousands murdered in pogroms. Muslims also faced suspicion in Christian lands they controlled. However, Islamic regions had their own outbreaks, evidencing plague's indiscriminate spread. Artistic and cultural expressions. The Black Death left indelible imprints on art and literature as people wrestled to express their experiences of profound suffering, heightened mortality, and brooding existential despair. A macabre fascination with death suffused depictions like Danse Macabre, dancing skeleton art, and skull symbolism. Images of decay sought to capture the grim zeitgeist and the fragility of human existence. Renewed piety and morality appeared alongside creative reckonings with death's specter and life's brevity. Modern medical insights. Centuries later, microbiology and epidemiology revealed the plague's causation by Yersinia pestis bacteria, and patterns of transmission via rats and fleas transported on ships. Genetic analysis confirmed the same bubonic strain sparked the 14th century pandemic, quashing alternative theories. Modern public health practices of sanitation, hygiene, rodent control and antibiotics ended plague's reign as an imminent public health crisis, although it maintains an animal reservoir. The Black Death demonstrated infectious diseases' power to shape history. Lasting historical significance. The Black Death outbreak marked a watershed turning point heralding the closure of the high medieval era and onset of transformations leading to the Renaissance and modernity. It indelibly changed economic, social and political structures across Europe. Mass mortality on such a scale deeply affected human psychology by revealing life's fragility. Given its unprecedented demographic impacts and recasting of society, the 14th century plague retains profound historical importance. Its cultural imprints long outlived its immediate devastation. In conclusion, the Black Death pandemic was an epoch-defining event causing enduring change in almost all aspects of European civilization. Its horrific toll and apocalyptic worldview had far-reaching effects on economy, faith, arts, and the psyche. The plague represented humanity's vulnerability to nature's forces, even as recovery eventually led to new social opportunities and cultural directions. Few events have so thoroughly transformed a region as the Great 14th Century Pestilence. A recent research has offered new perspectives on the Black Death, significantly enriching our understanding of its impact on human history and biology. A study involving archaeologists, geneticists, and pathologists found little evidence that the Black Death caused genetic variants to arise in affected populations in England. This research involved comparing the genes of people living before and after the plague to look for genetic changes, but found no significant variation that could be attributed to the Black Death. This suggests that if the plague had any selective impact, it was in ways not identifiable by the study, possibly occurring through multiple pathways or in other populations. In another fascinating development, researchers have linked the second plague pandemic to a shift in the composition of the human oral microbiome, which may contribute to chronic diseases in modern humans. This shift was identified through the largest study of ancient dental calculus to date, revealing two distinct communities of bacteria. This change in the oral microbiome is thought to be associated with dietary changes following the pandemic, as survivors could afford higher-calorie foods, potentially influencing the composition of their oral microbiomes. The Streptococcus-dominated group of bacteria associated with modern industrialized people's oral microbiomes was linked to low-fiber, high-carbohydrate diets and dairy consumption, whereas the Methanobrevibacter-dominated group, now largely extinct in healthy industrialized people, lacked traits associated with such diets. Moreover, a groundbreaking study by the University of Chicago and other institutions has discovered that the Black Death exerted significant selective pressure on the human genome, particularly affecting immune-related genetic variants. This research revealed that individuals with certain genetic variants were more likely to survive the plague, suggesting that the Black Death played a crucial role in the evolution of the human immune system. The study focused on the gene ERAP2, where specific variants enhanced the immune system's ability to fight the plague, potentially making some individuals about 40% more likely to survive than those without these variants. These studies collectively underscored the profound influence of the Black Death on human biology and disease susceptibility, revealing the pandemic's lasting legacy on the human genome and health. Through examining ancient DNA and dental calculus, scientists are uncovering the intricate ways in which this historic event shaped our ancestors and, by extension, modern humans. The Black Death's catastrophic toll offers profound lessons on the interaction between disease, society, and history. How did the Black Death's high mortality rate transform European society, economy, and culture? What parallels can be drawn between the societal responses to the Black Death and modern pandemics? The Black Death left an indelible mark on European history, altering the course of societies, economies, and cultures. As we reflect on this catastrophic event, we're reminded of humanity's resilience in the face of unimaginable adversity. Share your thoughts on this historical tragedy in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most pivotal moments. Thank you for watching Top Thangs. References: Benedictau, Olje, The Black Death, 1346 to 1353, The Complete History. Woodbridge, Boyd L. Press, 2004. Byrne, Joseph Patrick, Encyclopedia of the Black Death, Santa Barbara, ABC Clio, 2012. Kelly, John, The Great Mortality, An Intimate History of the Black Death. New York, HarperCollins, 2005. McClellan, James E. and Harold Dorn. Science and Technology and World History, The Black Death, Baltimore, Johns Hopkins University Press, 2006. Ziegler, Philip, The Black Death, London Collins, 1969.